The WNBA has a problem. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-poppingly bad.
Kathy Engelbert, this is what happens when you don't protect your superstar.
When you fail to protect your superstar, the consequences are inevitable. Everyone knew Caitlin Clark's absence would hurt the WNBA, but now we're seeing just how devastating it truly is. The latest viewership numbers are out, and the drop isn't just steep, it's catastrophic. Those pay us what you owe us shirts? Let's be real. They're aging like milk left out in the blazing sun. But this problem goes far deeper than a temporary ratings decline. What's coming next is shaping up to be an even bigger crisis for Kathy Engelbert and the league as a whole. Because new updates are emerging about Caitlin's recovery. And let's just say the story fans have been fed so far doesn't paint the full picture. This situation is unfolding in real time, and it's rapidly turning into one of the biggest disasters in league history. For Caitlin Clark supporters, it's also become the ultimate I told you so moment. Let's break it all down. The numbers, the fallout, and the truth about Caitlin's injury timeline. But first, hit that like button to send her good wishes for a full and healthy recovery, no matter how long it takes.
Cannot come out there with those shirts of pay us what you owe us, and then do that in the All-Star game.
The players' t-shirts weren't the only statement at the All-Star game. We also got a front-row look at what the WNBA feels like without Caitlin Clark. And let's be honest, it wasn't pretty. But you wouldn't know it from a media coverage. With Caitlin's sideline, viewership cratered by 36%. Yet ESPN ran a headline bragging about a triple-digit increase, conveniently comparing it to 2023, the year before Caitlin even entered the league. They really thought nobody would notice. Instead, it completely backfired. Classic Streisand effect. The spin only highlighted how brutal the crash really was. And it didn't stop there. Pair that with the pay us what you owe us shirts and the underwhelming on-court product, and the players didn't just suffer a PR stumble. They got absolutely roasted online. But here's the thing. That wasn't even rock bottom. Because now the numbers are in from the recent Fever Sky matchup, where both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese were sidelined. The difference from their first showdown? Nothing short of jaw-dropping.
Let's take a look right here. First time these two teams matched up this season. 2.7 million average views on ABC. Peaked with 3.1 million viewers. Up 115% versus last year's season average on ABC.
Even though Caitlin Clark and the Fever surged forward in 2024, while the Sky moved in the opposite direction, the WNBA still scheduled 5 head-to-head battles between the two teams. The first matchup, a ratings monster, pulling in millions of viewers. But the moment Caitlin went down, the decline began. From 2.7 million in the opener to 1.9 million in the rematch, then just 1.5 million in their third clash. Each game shed more of the audience. And now, the numbers have slipped even lower.
1.31 million? We have officially regressed. We have went way backwards, which is slightly above the average national TV viewership for Fever games this year. But it also is the least watched of the 8 Chicago and Indiana games since 2020.
That's right. Only 1.3 million people tuned in for the latest Fever Sky showdown. On paper, that might look solid, but in context, it's a disaster. That's 1.4 million fewer viewers in their first matchup, a collapse of over 50%. To put it in perspective, even the Fever's preseason exhibition against the Brazilian national team pulled 1.3 million. And here's the kicker. These aren't just ordinary games. The league billed Fever Sky as its crown jewel, the marquee showdown. The matchup casual fans would clear their schedules to watch. Instead, the supposed showcase is crumbling in real time.
WNBA has a problem. Because it seems with Caitlin Clark out, not only are the Indiana Fever games losing their steam, not only is the marquee matchup against the Chicago Sky losing its steam, that's the marquee matchup this league has to offer casual fans. You go up to anybody in the streets, name 2 WNBA players. One is always going to be Caitlin Clark, and the second is usually going to be Angel Reese. Maybe you'll get a Sabrina, maybe. But usually it's going to be those 2.
Sure, for the Fever, these matchups with the struggling Sky have been a blessing. They've padded the win column and boosted Indiana's playoff chances. But beyond that, the bigger truth is impossible to ignore. Casual fans, the millions who tuned in just for Caitlin Clark, are tuning out until she returns. And that raises a question the league would rather avoid. Is that why Caitlyn's injury updates have been so vague? Why does every status report feel like it's holding something back? Because the closer you look, the less it feels like transparency, and the more it feels like the league is simply trying to keep hope alive for ticket sales, TV ratings, and everything in between.
1.4 million people checked out. That's not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up.
Lately, we've seen Game Time Decision listed next to Caitlin Clark's name, only for Stephanie White to later admit she's not even participating in full practices yet. I'll get to her true status in a moment, but think about what that does. It leaves just enough uncertainty to keep fans hoping she might play. Because if everyone knew Caitlin was definitely out, plenty would ditch tickets or cancel trips they've already booked, costing teams and local economies millions. And when the next round of league-wide ratings drops, you'll see exactly why they're playing that card. The truth is simple. No Caitlin, no interest.
Sun vs. Aces Sunday, 180,000 views. Dream vs. Mercury Sunday, 160,000 views. Now, if the growth is as substantial as the ladies in the Players Association want you to believe, if the growth is as big as the ladies in the WNBA Players Association want you to believe, as the old guard wants you to believe, these 180s, these 160s would be at least 300,000. At least 300,000 on NBA TV, right?
These are unrivaled numbers, but not in the way the league hoped. We're talking just 160,000 viewers. Even by NBA TV standards, that's brutal. Paige, Angel, take your pick. None of them can consistently fill their own arenas, and those buildings are 2 or 3 times smaller than an NBA venue. At this stage, it's not even a debate. Between the All-Star Game flop and these cratering ratings, the WNBA's reliance on Caitlin Clark isn't just clear, it's flashing in neon. And that's exactly why her fans, casual viewers, and analysts alike are unloading on the league, with Commissioner Kathy Engelbert taking most of the heat.
Kathy Engelbert, this is what happens when you don't protect your superstar. This is what happens when you don't protect your cash cow. This is what happens when you allow gambling to run rampant in your league. I just had to throw that in there because that's what's taking place. This is what happens when you have referees call fouls one way for one individual and not the other way for the other individual. If Caitlin Clark had the same whistle that Paige Beckers had, Caitlin Clark would still be playing till this day. The Indiana Fever would be a top three seed right now.
Kathy Engelbert is getting blasted for refusing to address officiating, even as coaches, analysts, and star players beg for change. They're not demanding much, just consistency. Call the obvious fouls. Protect the players actually driving interest. Yet refs won't do it for Caitlin or anyone on the Fever, while others get the benefit. Just ask Sophie Cunningham, who openly pointed out the superstar whistles Paige Buchers already receives.